Hey y'all, it's Tynetta from Sting Nail Co. Today I'm going to show you how I took my client from these nails kind of bitten, messed up, to these nails pretty classy and cute. Get into it and get into it, okay? So first of all, we're starting off by pushing back her cuticles. The cuticle pusher I'm using is from Orly and I got mine on Amazon. If you search bent neck cuticle pusher on Amazon, it should come up. I like this shape of cuticle pusher because I don't have to use a lot of pressure. It kind of does the work for me. So this particular client hasn't been to me in about a year and a half or maybe 2 years, I can't remember, but she went to college. So I haven't done her nails in a while. This is how she came back. Her nails are kind of damaged, but that's okay because we're going to get her together. So now I'm done pushing the cuticles back. I'm using a micro tapered diamond drill bit from stingbeauty.com and I'm going at a speed of 9,000 RPMs and I'm going in reverse. The reason why I'm going reverse instead of forward is because her cuticles are very overgrown and the way that they're grown up onto the nail plate is very uneven. So if I start off in a forward motion, I'm not going to be able to really get underneath the cuticle like I need to. So I'm just going in reverse all the way around. You want to make sure that you're holding the drill bit parallel to the nail plate and not at any angle. As you can see, I'm moving her finger, twisting her finger, while I'm also moving my wrist and my hand so that I can keep the drill bit parallel. So like I was saying, her nails are a little bit damaged. She also seems like she bites her nails. So a lot of times when people bite their nails, the cuticle will grow up onto the nail plate a lot more than people who don't. That's your body's natural response trying to protect itself. The matrix, which is the area right behind the cuticle where the nail is made, is a very, very sensitive area. So if you're biting your nails, your body feels like that area is in danger. So it's overproducing cuticle skin to protect itself. So we have to make sure when we're working on clients who bite their nails that we're taking the time to get all that dead skin off. You also want to take your time and go really, really slow because you don't want to hurt them. Even though nail biters have a lot more cuticle skin, they are also a lot more sensitive in the cuticle area, and that's because that area has been damaged by them biting their nails. This is not to bash anyone. I used to bite my nails as well, so I know from personal experience, and this is why a lot of women get their nails done. So it's important for us as nail techs to know how to take care of these type of nails. So going back to nail prep, I'm still going around. I'm going from left to right in a reverse motion, and I'm slowly but surely removing that dead skin. And one thing I want you to notice is that I'm not trying to do everything all in one swipe. I'm going around as many times as necessary. I'm not applying any pressure to her nail at all. The drill bit is doing all the work for me, so I do not have to apply any pressure, and you don't want to because that's what's going to cause rings of fire. So I've had a few questions about a few things, so I figure I can answer some questions while you guys watch me finish prepping her nails. So one thing that I get a lot of questions about is how to build a clientele. Now this is something that has a lot of different things involved. It's not just one or two things that you're going to do, but the main thing I can say is perfect your craft. If you perfect your craft, your clients will never leave your chair. So that means taking the time to learn how to properly prep your nails so that there's no lifting, or if there is lifting, it's not just the whole nail popping off. It might be a little bit of lifting, and I want to say lifting is normal, especially for people who use their hands a lot, who are in water, or people who have oily skin. You're never going to be able to 100% prevent lifting with every client, but you can minimize the lifting, okay? So perfecting your prep, perfecting your application, making sure that there's no product on the skin, and make sure that you pay attention to detail. A lot of people that sit in my chair mention that they notice that I am such a perfectionist and I pay a lot of attention to detail. That makes a difference with clients. They want to know that you actually care about what you're doing, that you care about their natural nails, and that you're trying your best to do your best job, okay? So secondly, with building your clientele, you got to put yourself out there. 4 years ago, I would have said post on Instagram and use hashtags, but Instagram is not the same as it was back then. So you have to try different things. If Instagram alone isn't working for you, don't stop posting. Keep posting and keep putting your hashtags, but go ahead and try something different. Have some flyers that you pass out when you go out. Do your nails. If your nails are done and you're out and about at the fast food line or at the store checking out or something like that, people are going to ask about your nails. Or you can walk up to people and ask them, do you get your nails done? I do my own nails. Here's my Instagram. Hand them a flyer. Give them a coupon, 10% off. Things like that. But you have to get creative. If one method isn't working for you, don't quit. Don't give up. Just pivot and try something else. Another thing that matters when it comes to building your clientele is not branding, it's not colors you paint your room, it's how you treat your customers. So if your client breaks a nail, within a certain amount of time, I always say fix them for free. For me, within 72 hours of your appointment is free. I'm not going to charge you. I'm going to take responsibility for that one, okay? Now, not saying that you have to do that, but that type of thing is what builds client loyalty. Another thing that people pay a lot of attention to, especially after COVID, is cleanliness, okay? I went somewhere getting my hair done before, getting some braids, and there was a bunch of little balls of hair on the floor that didn't belong to me. Make sure you're cleaning up and wiping down all the surfaces in between, especially doing nails. Your clients are looking around while they're sitting there, and they want to make sure that you're cleaning up properly. So just make sure you're paying attention to all those little details and make sure you're giving your clients the best experience that they can. Now, I'm not talking about giving out $20 worth of free snacks and drinks. That's not necessary, especially doing nails. You're not going to be eating no chips while I do your nails. But I'm going to make sure that the TV is on, or some good music, or at least, some good conversation, okay? So now what I'm doing is prepping my client's nail bed. I'm using a medium grit sanding band on the speed of 6,000 RPMs, and I'm just going around the surface of her nail plate, making sure that everything is exfoliated. The nail turns ashy and white as you go over it. So that's going to be your indicator of whether the nail is prepped or not. So as you can see here, when I touch it with the sanding band, it turns ashy and white. Any spots that are not ashy and white still need to be prepped. You don't have to go over the surface of the nail multiple times unless you notice that the nail is not prepped. So back to building clientele, one thing that a lot of people say to me when they come to me for the first time is that they have been watching my social media page for a while. So this goes back to what I was saying about just because Instagram isn't as popping or you're not getting as many likes as you want, doesn't mean you should stop posting. If I go on your page and you haven't posted something in 3 months, I'm going to instantly think that you don't do nails anymore, and I'm going to go back to the hashtags and find somebody with more recent posts. I know those numbers can seem kind of defeating sometimes, but just keep posting. Now, here's one thing I'm going to tell you. Instagram is not pushing solid pictures. They either want you to post a reel or a video, and if you notice, when you upload a video, they're trying to turn it into a reel for you. Just go ahead and post the reels, even if it's just of the finished product of your nails from a couple different angles. It doesn't have to be a transformation or a whole tutorial, but go ahead and post the reels, because otherwise Instagram is really not sharing your content with people. So once you finish prepping the nails, you're going to use a manicure brush and some alcohol or a nail cleanser to remove all the dust from the nail. And now I'm just removing any of that dead skin that was pushed up during the prep process. So as you can see, I'm only removing the skin that's sticking up. I'm not going super deep and going up like under the cuticle. I'm only removing the skin that's pushed up, that's turned white. Make sure that your cuticle nippers are nice and sharp. Even though it looks like I'm pulling her skin, I'm not. I'm just pulling the cuticle nippers away. You should be able to close the nippers and cut the skin. You should not be pulling the skin, because all it's going to do is hurt people. This process should be completely painless. If you notice that your client is bleeding, go ahead and remove less skin, or just don't do this step at all. And if you aren't comfortable doing this step, I don't blame you. I wasn't comfortable doing this for a very long time. So if your client's skin is sticking up way far, like, hey girl, get rid of me, go ahead and nip it off real quick. But if you're not comfortable and it's not necessary, then don't do it. But for me, when it comes to a manicure, oh, I'm finna turn up, honey. I'm finna get my client's nails as clean as I possibly can. And this is what I'm talking about, paying attention to the details, because this is what will have people coming back. A lot of people tell me that they have never had their cuticles cut or taken care of. So these are the little differences that will have your clients coming back. So now that I'm done prepping, I'm going to apply my primer, 2 coats of primer, and then I'm going to apply my nail form. You want to make sure that the nail form is right up next to the nail, that there's no gaps or anything, and that is parallel to the natural nail plate. Okay, so now what I'm doing is measuring her other thumb so I can see the length that I'm going. For my first bead, I'm going to place it right where the natural nail and the form meet. This bead is just going to be the shape of the nail. I like to explain that as, picture this being the actual nail tip if you were using tips. So what I'm doing is creating the shape. I'm just creating a very thin base, and I'm going to take this down to the length that I want her nail, and also creating the shape that I want her nail. So since we're doing square, you see me forming the square nail down at the bottom. If I was doing round or stiletto, I would form that shape. Now for the second bead, I'm going to start building up the structure of the nail. So I'm going to place this right on top of the first bead, And now I'm going to bring that down the nail and create the thickness and the structure for the tip of her nail. When you're sculpting, you always want to make sure that the finger is tilted down towards the table so that the acrylic is flowing down the nail form instead of off to the sides and into the skin. So for this next bead, this is going to be my cuticle and apex bead. So I'm going to place it right behind the cuticle and then gently push that back with the tip of my brush into the cuticle, but not on the skin. Then I'm going to use the tip of my brush to blend that down into the rest of the nail and just kind of build the apex. As you can see, I'm twisting her finger to make sure that the structure is being built properly. I noticed a little dip, so I'm going to add a small bead here, and now I'm going to move on to the next nail. Okay, so what I'm showing you here, if I was to put the form on as it is, it would be a little bit of a gap between her natural nail and the form. So what I'm going to do is take that little tab out from the middle of the form, cut that curve a lot less. So you see the curve on the form is really deep. I just cut that curve kind of flat, and now that's going to fit to the shape of her natural nail. You don't want any gaps when you're applying forms because that's going to create an area of weakness. So as you can see, now that I put that on, there's no gaps and it fits perfectly. So now we're going to be able to go ahead and apply that acrylic just the same as we did on the first finger. So starting with that first bead at the area where the natural nail and the form meet, bringing that down to the length of the nail. And then I'm going to use my brush to go ahead and shape that nail up. You want to make sure you're shaping your nails while you still can, because once that acrylic gets hard and you have to shape it afterwards, it's going to be a lot of filing, and this is going to save you a lot of time. So back to building your clientele. You want to make sure that you're knowledgeable about natural nails, artificial nails, the health of natural nails, and why you're doing what you're doing, why you're using the products that you're using, and different techniques. A lot of people are very, very curious, especially when it comes to sculpting, because they've never seen that before. For instance, a client with damaged nails or bitten nails, I always recommend that they do sculpting over tips. It's very, very stressful on a natural nail to glue a tip onto the tip of their nail that's already damaged and thin, where you can just build that entire nail out from the acrylic and not have to worry about putting the stress of the entire nail on the tip of their damaged natural nail. The client will appreciate you caring about the health of her natural nails, and she'll also appreciate that you are well versed, you have different techniques, and you have a solution for her problem. And these are not things that you're going to learn sitting at your nail desk. You have to take classes, even watching YouTube videos. These are mini classes, so make sure you're continuing your education, but also get out of the salon, get out of your bedroom, go take some classes with a professional who specializes in different things, and they can share that knowledge with you. Not only share that information with you, but show you how to do it properly. So now I'm using a 100 grit file to clean up the shape of the nail, just the same way you would with tips. And I'm just cleaning up the sidewalls, the free edge, and making sure everything is nice and clean and nice and straight. So here's my secret to sealing cuticles and finishing the nail. I know a lot of people are scared to get up close to the skin with that sharp carbide drill bit. So take your sanding band, a fine grit sanding band, and go all around right up close to the skin. This will not cut your client if you accidentally touch their skin. So this is why I love this method. So now I went ahead and had her wash her hands, applied a base coat of gel, and now I'm doing a new method that I've been using to do French tips. It's super easy and super quick. So basically you want to fill in the base of the nail for the thickness you want your smile line. Go ahead and add your 2 curved lines on the sides, fill them in with the liner brush, and then smooth that out. And I'm going to cure that in a UV light for 30 seconds. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my second coat of polish just so I can get the opacity that I want. Make sure there's no streakiness and the color is nice and solid. Then I'm going to go ahead with some acetone and a cleanup brush and just go around the smile line that we drew. Then if you mess up anything, you can go back in with your liner brush and fix that up. Cure that one more time. And my client wanted to spice up her French tips. She always has the cutest designs. So I went ahead and added another line around the smile line in a darker green shade just to switch it up, just to spice it up a little bit. Then you're going to cure that, add your top coat, and here's the finished product. Look how cute these came out. I'm telling y'all, she has the cutest ideas because she came up with this color combination as well. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe for more, and I will talk to you guys on the next one.